Making a trade for pitching this offseason seems inevitable for the Cardinals, and a name that we brought up last offseason was the Rays' Tyler Glasnow. Today, we're going to look at some possible trade scenarios for the big right-hander on Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Haffern, and I'm a national radio sports anchor, born and raised in the Lou and a lifetime Cardinals fan. And I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Follow me on Twitter, X at JD Sports Radio, and the podcast at LO_Cardinals. We want to thank those of you who make Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcast, as well as on YouTube if you want that visual aspect of the show. Subscribe, comment, interact with us, hit the notification button so you know when the new episodes are posted. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode being brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started today. Now, we know the Cardinals will go after pitching this offseason. I mean, if you didn't know that, then you're not paying attention. Obviously, that's the biggest need. There's two different ways to go about it. You got free agency, and then you've got trades. How they decide to fill out this starting rotation in the bullpen, we don't know yet. We don't know which one they're going to go down mostly. I've thrown out the idea that I think that they should spend money on the top two guys in the rotation, trade for a third. That way it's not costing you so much in prospects to get somebody from another team through a trade. But when one of those big names becomes available, sometimes you just got to go for it. We don't know who they're going to get yet, but we've narrowed things down to a few possible targets. Yesterday, we had Josh Jacobs from RedbirdRants.com on the show, and we went through his top 10 realistic pitching targets for the Cardinals. Now, if you missed that episode, please give it a listen, because even though we went a little bit long because Josh and I like to talk about this kind of stuff, but it really gave you an idea of where the Cardinals are right now as far as the starting pitching market. I know people brought up other people in the comments section on that episode. They're like, where's Trevor Bauer? Where's Eduardo Rodriguez? Where are these guys at? As of right now, we don't know that the Cardinals have shown any interest in either of those guys. We don't know that. We haven't read it anywhere. We haven't gotten any sources that have said the Cardinals have checked in on Trevor Bauer. To me, it doesn't seem like a very Cardinal move, but when push comes to shove, are you willing to go that extra, step to bring back somebody like a Trevor Bauer? So that's why he wasn't in the top 10 list. So for those of you who are wondering where he was, that's why, because we haven't heard anything about it. So it's, we could talk about a lot of different guys that aren't realistic. We could have brought up Ohtani and Garrett Cole or Spencer Strider, but we haven't heard anything about those guys either. So as of right now, Trevor Bauer falls into that category. We've never heard anything about any beat writers, anybody to do with the Cardinals have said that they are interested in talking to Trevor Bauer. Okay. Not realistic options at this moment. Now, the names that we gave you yesterday are names that, we've been brought up before here on this podcast. Legit sources who speak with the Cardinals have insight to what's going on in the front office and in the clubhouse. Each week, I plan on bringing you at least one day a week where we can focus on a trade scenario to bring some of these guys in and put them in the Cardinals rotation, because it's fun. This is the fun stuff about the offseason. We could talk about what it would be like if we were in charge. And as the names change, we'll pivot with that information so that we are, giving you the most up-to-date possibilities for the Cardinals so that we can put 2023 in a rearview mirror and forget about it and start getting back to, Cardinals baseball the way most of us remember it and used to know about it. And that's that it's a winning tradition in St. Louis. So we want to get back to that. And one of the names that I brought up last offseason, and his name has now resurfaced here this offseason as a trade target for the Cardinals, is Tampa Bay Rays right-hander Tyler Glasnow. Now, it's kind of funny that I planned on doing this episode, and It just so happened that, Josh Jacobs, who was on the show yesterday, also put out an article today talking about trade ideas to get him to St. Louis. So what we're going to do here is just kind of go through these scenarios, see what we think is good, what's bad. Maybe something in here is, whoa, crazy, crazy. We don't want anything to do with that kind of a trade. But for those of you unfamiliar with who Tyler Glasnow is, California guy, big dude, 6'8", 225. Like when he's pitching, like it's almost as if he's throwing from like 50 feet because his arms are so long. Just turned 30 years old in August, started with the Pittsburgh Pirates, 5th round pick of theirs back in 2011. Breezed through the minor leagues, really didn't have a lot of issues there, but they didn't rush him by any means. But each year, if you go look at the numbers, he was pretty dominant. By 2016, got promoted to the majors, and unfortunately, that is when the injuries began. Got hurt in his second start that year, and it's something that it's a common occurrence when you go through the history of Tyler Glasnow. Since he got up to the major leagues, injuries have followed him throughout his major league career. The next year, 2017, starts in the big league rotation, struggles a bit, spends most of that year at AAA, but he's really, really good. His normal stud self down there, 9-2, 1.93 ERA, striking out a bazillion dudes. Pirates decide he's going to be a bullpen guy for them to start the 2018 season. He appears in 34 games as a reliever. He goes 1-2, 4.34 ERA, 72 Ks in 56 innings. Then at the trade deadline, the Pirates, at the time, fighting for playoff spots, make a deal. And it's one that I think a lot of Pirates fans regret. They sent Tyler Glasnow and outfielder Austin Meadows and a player to be named later to the Tampa Bay Rays for Chris Archer. The Rays then put Glasnow into the rotation. He goes 1-5 and 11 starts, 4.20 ERA. At 2019, he's now 24 years old, starts 5-0 on the year, 1.75 ERA. Looks like he's finally blossoming, future superstar. But then, guess what? Gets injured again. Doesn't return until September. Finishes that season 6-1, 1.78 ERA. 2020, you got the COVID year, 5-1, 4.08 ERA. Had some postseason success that year, but also did get beat up in Game 1 of the World Series against Houston. 2021, now he's 27 years old. He's off to another great start. 5-2 record, 2.66 ERA, 123 punchies in 88 innings. And guess what? He gets hurt again. Now, this was the infamous sticky stuff injury that went down where he got mad that MLB, remember, they cracked down on sticky stuff that guys were using out on the mound to increase their spin rates. And some of the guys just were like, dude, we use it so that the ball's not slippery in general. But MLB cracked down. They said, no more. We're going to look at the substances. We're going to have the umps checking you. And Glasnow didn't shy away from the fact. He admitted that he used sunscreen and rosin to get extra grip. And when they took that away, he, in his mind, says that led to his elbow injury. Ended up getting tears in his UCL and flexor tendon, which required Tommy John surgery. He's gone again. Then the Rays decide in the offseason they're going to sign him to an extension. They end up doing that in August of the next year, and he comes back in September of 2022. Also pitches in the playoffs. Last year, they're hoping that he's going to come in healthy, and guess what? He gets hurt again in the offseason. He's got an oblique injury that sets him back 6 to 8 weeks, but he ends up making a career-high 21 starts last year. Goes 10-7, 3.53 ERA, 162 strikeouts in 120 innings. That's a 12.2 strikeouts per 9 average. I mean, the dude's got filthy stuff, guys. He really does. He's got filthy stuff. 96 mile an hour fastball on average. It's not topping out on average. He's at 96. Hits triple digits. Has an incredible breaking ball. He's got a slider. Has a changeup that'll throw here and there, but rarely. He basically relies on the 3 main pitches of his fastball, curveball, and slider. BaseballSavant.com. I'm going to put this up on the YouTube page for you guys to check out for yourselves because I don't want to read all these stats, but look at that. BaseballSavant.com. You can see on this channel. The dude is in the red in almost everything, which means he's really good. He's got ace stuff, but he's got the injury history, which frightens a lot of people. It frightens me, and for good reason. I mean, think about that for a second. Like, this past year was the most starts he's ever made in a season. You know, you're used to guys that, at least you're hoping for guys that'll go 28 to 32, and he's barely getting over 20. Barely getting over 20. So let's go look at it from the other side of what the Tampa Bay Rays have here. Why, if he's so good, why are the Rays even talking about trading this guy? Well, the extension that he signed in 2022 has him he made like a little over $5 million last year. He's going to make $25 million this year. 25. That's a lot of dough, man. And a lot of dough for a team like the Tampa Bay Rays, who just don't spend money like that. They just don't. It's never been their thing. And the other side of it is that they're already down their ace, Shane McClanahan. He's gone. Tommy John surgery. Probably won't pitch next year. Drew Rasmussen, who missed most of this year with an elbow issue. Probably going to be out a decent chunk of next year as well. The Rays may decide that $25 million on one guy in the rotation, maybe that's not worth it. Particularly for what could be just 1 year, because Glasnow is going to be a free agent after the season is done. So if you're the Rays, do you think about shipping him out to get multiple arms and players to, put the money to better use than just spending it on one guy? You spread it out over a couple of guys. Get you, they're kind of in the market for a new shortstop with Wander Franco. That's a problem. You could always use extra guys. And then if you get a couple of young pitchers, the way that they develop their pitching, they're pretty confident in themselves and making guys who are just, okay, pretty darn good. So that's why they would trade him. The Rays have not said that they are shopping Tyler Glasnow yet, but we've already heard that if that does happen and the Rays put it out there that, all right, he's on the market, let's see what you guys got, the Cardinals would definitely be interested in talking. So coming up, I'm going to pitch you a couple of those trade ideas that I was talking about, and we'll see what you think about them. We'll do that next here on Locked On Cardinals. Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, right now is the best time to do it. No better time to get in on the action. So much going on right now. So much going on. Obviously, NFL football, huge deal. But you've also got the NHL season has just begun. NBA right around the corner. You've got college football. You've still got Major League Baseball playoffs going on. And all you got to do is grab the app. It's really easy to use and check out a wide range of betting options, which include the spreads, player props, over-unders, and a whole lot more. NFL action this week. I've been super impressed with and it pains me to say it because I'm a Packers fan, but the Detroit Lions, man, Detroit Lions look legit. I've loved what they've done so far. And I know they didn't have Amon-Ra St. Brown this past week. Still dominated Carolina. And he's looking like he's going to be back in the lineup this week. They've had their rookie tight end, Sam Laporta, has been very, very good. David Montgomery, been huge, stepping into that Jamal Williams role from last year. Jared Goff looks great. The defense, fantastic with Aiden Hutchinson in his second year. They're going to be in Tampa Bay this week. They face the Bucks. Bucks are 3-1. But those 3 wins are against the Vikings, the Bears, and then the Saints. Saints aren't a bad team. But combined, those 3 teams are 5-10 so far this year. Not that Tampa is a bad team, but I just think that the record is a bit skewed, if you will, at 3-1. I don't know if they are actually a 3-1 team. They're coming off their bye, which gives them a little bit of rest. But I've just been so impressed with Detroit. That's my choice this week. That's the one I'm going with. Detroit favored by 3 on the road in Tampa Bay. I'm taking it. You can too. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn. Kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL. Once again, thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. You can leave comments on our YouTube channel as well as on Twitter anytime you want. Feedback always welcome and encouraged. We know there's a bit of seller's remorse about a previous deal with the Rays involved. You might have heard of this one, the Randy Arozarena, Matthew Liberatore trade. But if the Cardinals were to engage in talks with them for Tyler Glasnow, our buddy Josh Jacobs, RedbirdRants.com, came up with a couple of trade ideas to get him. And These were very similar to what I came up with, so let's run through them real quick. His first one has Glasnow coming to the Cardinals for Tommy Edman and Juan Yepez. The Rays would seek someone like Edman for a couple of reasons, because first off, they need a shortstop, as I mentioned. Wander Franco, that debacle, he's not going to be on the team anymore. So they're going to need a shortstop. And Tommy Edman, not super expensive yet. Josh points out that he's probably going to make around $6.5 million in arbitration this year, but has 2 years of control left. Plus, they can move him around like they used to move Ben Zobrist if they want to. You know, that's something they can do with Tommy Edman. Yepez has no role on the Cardinals right now at all. I've even heard that people have said that maybe he wants to get out. He needs a change of scenery because he's got nowhere to go. He's stuck in no man's land, but he has shown potential with his bat, and maybe Tampa Bay can, find some at-bats for him at the major league level, where the Cardinals just don't have that right now. Second option, Tyler Glasnow for Tyler O'Neill and Ivan Herrera. We know the story with O'Neill. Loads of talent, can't stay healthy. And we've wondered if perhaps he's fallen out of favor with the front office and Ali Marmol after the weed out comments that Ali made. When he's on the field, Gold Glove defender in left field, can play center field obviously as well. Speed, he's got power, lots of upside. Josh does bring up if the not playing on turf thing is something that's going to be going forward with Tyler O'Neill. He didn't play against Tampa Bay, who plays their games on turf at home. If that's real, then this obviously wouldn't work out as a trade. As far as Herrera goes, you got a young catcher, upside offensively and defensively. The Cardinals love Andrew Knizner. They do. Clubhouse loves Andrew Knizner. Contreras is locked in for 4 more years. Where's Ivan Herrera going to go? You're not carrying 3 catchers. That's not going to be a thing. So even though it was for a little bit this past season, it's not going to be a normal thing. Might as well put his value to good use in a deal for a need, like you're starting pitching, instead of letting him rot in AAA, similar to what they, did with Carson Kelly. Remember, Carson Kelly was one of the top catching prospects in all of baseball. I think at one point he was actually the number 1 rated catching prospect. But you had Yadier Molina. There's nowhere for him to go. You didn't want to keep him just as a backup playing 20 games a year, tops, when Yadi's back there. So they ship him to Arizona in the package for Paul Goldschmidt. That worked out pretty nicely. Now he's in Detroit. Number 3, Glasnow in exchange for Alec Burleson and Matthew Liberatore. Yes, Libby was traded to the Cardinals from the Rays for Randy Arozarena. So kind of an odd scenario. I'm not sure how realistic that would be, but these are the conversations we have to get into. We got to have these. I mean, Liberatore, he looked pretty darn good when he took on the Rays in Tampa Bay. Easily his best game as a professional at the major league level thus far. Josh brings up his positive, left-hander. He's young. He's going to have 6 years of control. Inexpensive for the first few years, at least, depending on how he progresses. Clearly, the franchise liked him when they drafted him in the first round. Josh calls Burleson actually the star of this deal, saying a left-handed bat whose batted ball data shows a ton of room for growth. He was drafted back in 2020 and has already spent a full season at the big league level. And those within the Cardinals organization love his swing. It's only a matter of time before he breaks out as a hitter, and Tampa could take advantage of that. I haven't seen enough of positives from Alec Burleson to get excited. I don't know why other teams would be excited about him. I know he was a high pick. He was in the second round. I just haven't seen it yet. So I don't know if that's legit. I don't know how other teams actually view the worth of one Alec Burleson. Finally, number 4, Glasnow for Dylan Carlson and Gordon Graceffo. Now, DC, we can all agree, has got talent, but he's had a lot of injuries the last couple of seasons. And although you've got all this talent, you got a switch hitter, he's cheap, he's young, he's still in his mid-20s. Got the capability of playing all 3 outfield positions. The Cardinals, remember, you got Walker, who's in right field right now, then Nootbaar. And say you were keeping everybody at the way the roster shakes out right now, Walker, Nootbaar, you got Edman, who can still play center field, who might be your opening day center fielder next year if things aren't moved around or people aren't traded. You've still got Tyler O'Neill. You've still got Alec Burleson. And you've also got prospects like your first round pick, Chase Davis, that you just took this year. Victor Scott flying up the rankings. He'll be at AAA next year. So the Rays could be interested in what I would consider the untapped potential of Dylan Carlson. Crushes left-handers, hasn't been able to hit righties very well, but just a couple of years ago, he was the Cardinals' #1 prospect and was one of the top prospects in baseball. Graceffo, friend of the show, we've had him on before. Cardinals' top pitching prospect this past offseason, but injuries kind of derailed this season. So, maybe the shine has dimmed a little bit on Graceffo because of the injuries this year. But there's nothing that says he won't get back to where he was before the injuries happened. Josh calls him an arm that will be ready for big league innings next year and speculates that perhaps he's actually down in the pecking order behind guys like Zach Thompson, Matthew Liberatore, and even Dakota Hudson. So those are his 4 trade ideas. What do you guys think of those? Let me know in the comments down below. And I'm going to tell you which one I prefer. And I'm going to alter things just a little bit, but we'll do mine next on Locked On Cardinals. Modern medical care and treatment are important and should be readily available to you when you need them. And bad things, you ever notice bad things always seem to happen at the most inconvenient times? Like it's weird how it works out that way. Things like pandemics, obviously there's never a good time for them, or natural disasters. But when you're traveling, weird things constantly happen. Foreign travel may cut you off from the treatment that you need. And that's where Jase Medical is your solution. What I need you to do is fill out your online form of one of Jase Medical's board-certified physicians. They're going to take a look at it. They'll review it, determine whether or not medications are safe and appropriate for you. Then Jase will send you the prescriptions. When you get approved, they send you the prescriptions. They send it straight to your home. They'll partner up with one of the pharmacies, and your order will get filled, and it'll come to you. You don't have to go get it. And another bonus to the Jase Medical treatment here is that you could also send your physician a message for answers about your treatment anytime you want. Anytime you want. Again, bad things happen at the oddest times. It's not just Monday through Friday between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Bad stuff happens to us all the time. So everyone should be empowered to care for themselves and their loved ones during the unexpected. And that's why Jase Medical offers the Jase case. It provides 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use and gives you peace of mind so that you aren't just hoping that you have access to medication in an emergency. Jase Medical makes sure you have the medication in hand. And it's simple. It's very, very simple. They handle everything from the online evaluation to licensed pharmacy medication delivery and ongoing consultation and care. Don't get caught unprepared. Don't let it happen to you. Get $20 off on these life-saving antibiotics today from Jase Medical by using my code LOCKEDON at checkout on jasemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com. So each trade idea that Josh listed there that we have on the show for you today has its ups and downs, right? Sure, we'd love to trade guys that we don't want or like anymore to go get guys that we really, really want and are really, really good and are better. That's just not realistic, though. So of the 4 trades he put together there, I'm actually going to kind of create my own combo version here because I want to look at this through the eyes of the Tampa Bay Rays. And I know the Cardinals need a pitcher. If I'm the Rays, I'm like, I know they want pitching. I know I can, kind of upcharge them a little bit because they're a little bit desperate right now. I could ask for a little bit more and feel like a trade that involved, and this is what I'd be saying if I'm the Rays, I would want a trade that involves Edman or Carlson and Graceffo. That'd be my asking price. I'd even see if the Cardinals might toss in a Dakota Hudson or instead of Graceffo. What if they swap him out and go, we want Zach Thompson or Matthew Liberatore instead, plus Dakota Hudson and Tommy Edman? They're going to want extra arms. Did you see what happened to them this year? How many injuries they had on that staff? The Rays want guys who can contribute right now. Their winning window, it's open, but with the injuries that went down with them this year and with the Franco situation, they didn't get the postseason run that they would have liked. For most of the year, they were the best team in baseball, remember? They were running away with things, and then it all started to crumble. So I think if they do decide to move on from Glasnow, which is a legit possibility, that they'd want guys who will be on their roster and playing pretty much every day immediately. Heck, they might ask for Edman and Carlson, and then somebody like Graceffa or Michael McGreevy. The Cardinals added a lot of arms at the deadline this year. It's Koa Roby, Drew Rom, Sim Robertsa. By the way, I just realized that all of those start with R. It's got to be a cool nickname for those guys somewhere, right? The rated R supers. I don't know. Anyway, but them, Tink Hentz, Cooper Jerpy, first round pick, Ian Bedell, who has had a really good start to his career. We've had him on the show. A lot of guys we've talked about before would make trading a Graceffo or a Liberatore, Hudson, Thompson not sting quite as much. Same thing with Thomas Ajayce. If you believe that he's going to be all right, losing Edman or Donovan in a deal doesn't hurt quite as much. You don't know if he can pull it off at the major league level yet, but if you're confident in him, then you feel like you have some room there to ship somebody out. Now, the injury history and the risk with Glasnow, it's very, very real. It is very real, just like it was with Steven Matz. We knew what you were getting with Steven Matz. Has been hurt a lot in his career. When he's healthy, hasn't been bad. He gets hurt a lot, and he's been hurt a lot in the 2 seasons in St. Louis. Glasnow's upside, though, like night and day with Steven Matz. Like, it is tremendous. Tremendous upside. So if you can get him, is it worth the risk? Would you need to know that he'd be willing to sign another extension before swinging a deal like that? What if he tells you, I'm definitely going to free agency? So if you trade for me, I'm not signing anything. I'm going to free agency. Would that stop you from going after him? Probably. It probably would for me. But there's a lot of variables there of reasons why you would want to do a trade like this or stay away from it. I'm curious what you think John Mozeliak and the Cardinals should do if Glasnow becomes available. We don't know that he is yet. But if he does, would you go after him? Which of these trade options from today's show would you like, if any of them? Hit me up in the comment section on YouTube or tweet me or X me. I don't know how you even say that, but Twitter X, you can let me know there as well. Again, thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. I will have a link to Josh's article that he did about this, so you can get the full reading. I only took a little pieces of what he had there, but there's it's a whole thing there. So I'll put that in the comment section down below on YouTube. If you're listening to the podcast, I'll have it in the show notes down there as well. If you haven't already, please give us a follow on Twitter at LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. Like, subscribe on YouTube, help our channel, and love for the Cardinals grow. You guys are the best fans of baseball for a reason. We'll see you next time on Locked On Cardinals, and go Blues. Opening night tonight for the St. Louis Blues against the Dallas Stars, who are a pretty good hockey team. So best of luck.